Hello and welcome to Political Paradigm. My guest is a serving senator and a member of the APC Caretaker Committee, Senator Yusuf. Distinguished welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Let me begin with one of the most recent events. You're aware that an Abia State High Court has given an order for the federal government, the Attorney General specifically, to delete Section 8412 of the Electoral Act. And it's a worry for many. I've spoken with a number of senators as well who feel that this is quite confusing, considering the fact that the National Assembly was not copied in the suit, and the quick implementation of this by the Attorney General is quite questionable. How do you react to it?
Well, thank you very much. I think with due respect to the court, ruling or court, what the court says on that matter. Section 84, Section 12 of the Electoral Act talks about political appointee. With due respect, what is the definition of political appointee in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? So I think there's a confusion, in my own opinion, between a political appointee, a public servant, and a civil servant. What the Constitution is talking about is a public servant and not political appointee, in my own opinion. And therefore, I think we should give respect to the law that the National Assembly passed and understand what the National Assembly is talking about. So for me, well, it's law that has been interpreted that way. And the judicial process is actually supposed to interpret the law and not to do the work for the National Assembly. It can just give its own interpretation and then, ask the National Assembly to look at it once again.
How's the National Assembly taking this?
Well, it's not going to take much. When Mr. President, returned the law to the National Assembly, we quickly look at it and then, we pass it in the light of the demands for our various constituencies in this country. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not taking the position of the Senate because I'm not the spokesperson of the Senate. But, my own, I think what we are talking about is political appointee and not public servant.
All right, let's talk some party politics now. You're a member of the Caretaker Committee of the All Progressives Congress. And last week, if I'm not mistaken, members of the committee visited the Caretaker Chairman, Mai Malabuni, Governor of Yobe State. And absent was the Secretary of the committee, amid rumors that he may have been removed, and remembering that your committee did sign and pass a vote of no confidence on him. Is it safe to say that Senator Akpan Udoide is no longer the secretary of the committee?
Well, there are two things here that you have raised. Yes, we visited, His Excellency, the Governor of Yobe State, Mai Malabuni, who just came back from medical treatment. And so we met him, in his lodge. Not even, it was a private visit, to go and say welcome to him. It was a courtesy call to say, well, welcome back. I think I want to find out how you feel, and the rest of it. And then the second issue you have raised is, yes, a vote of no confidence was passed, while the Mai Malabuni was not around. But it was duly, handed over to the Governor of Niger State, His Excellency, Abubakar Bello. So the committee, passed, that vote of no confidence, according to the constitution of the party, and we think that has been done and is done. So whatever comes follow, because remember there's a press release, by Mai Malabuni, His Excellency Mai Malabuni, that whatever was done while he was absent, stand down. So I think, as of now, the law has taken its own course. The secretary, we have passed vote of no confidence on him. Is going to be ratified, at the convention.
What exactly informed the decision of the committee to pass that no vote of no confidence on him. I understand you were part of the people who signed that. What exactly was the reason for that?
You see, yes, I signed, and for one to sign vote of no confidence on his colleague, as a secretary of the CECPC, it's just a simple thing. In my own opinion, we have a motion was raised, by a colleague, and another colleague supported the motion, and then we look at it, in the light of what has actually transpired, in the interim period why my Malabuni was not around. So that was what has happened, and it was an internal thing. And members, sat down, looked at it, they were not satisfied with some of the actions and inactions of the secretary.
Well, I think many people have questioned why that kind of action was taken against him. And for some, it's because he came, I beg your pardon, it's because he came in between the two governors. I don't know how true that is, but you recall that when the rumor of the removal of Mai Malabuni at the time came out, he was the first to quickly issue a rebuttal saying that wasn't true. And then hours later, he was at the Secretariat with the governor of Niger State, which raised questions. And at that engagement with the governor had a conversation with journalists where he said that he was now the caretaker chairman of the committee, acting caretaker chairman of the committee, and would not comment on if Governor Mai Malabuni would be returning as chairman. And it seemed at the time that it was a done deal. And of course, we later got to hear that the APC had kicked out Governor Mai Malabuni, even though that's been reversed now. So is that the reason why he's being removed now?
I cannot really say if that is what the reason is, but first of all, let me correct, what has happened. Mai Malabuni was sick, so he has to go and get medical attention. And he has to transmit power to somebody, to handle the affairs of the caretaker extraordinary convention planning committee. And the next person to take care of that, is Governor Abubakar Bello, the executive governor of Niger State. So there's a letter to that effect that, the governor of Niger State should hold forth while he was away. So he was never removed. And it was just, he's going for medical, leave, and somebody has to take care of it. There was also, a letter from Mai Malabuni, rightly so, that, the secretary of CECPC should be, should handle the secretarial services of the party, which is right. So for me, it was an unnecessary, issues that came up, maybe it is a media hype, I don't know at this point in time. So, but for us, we have never, anticipated, removal of Mai Malabuni, until, if we had wanted, if there was reason to, there was no reason why we shouldn't have done so. The constitution of the party has given us rights, if you have to third majority, you can question, the behavior, of one of the members, and probably even go for the vote of no confidence on them. But that was not done on Mai Malabuni.
What was your reaction when the governor of Kaduna State plainly said that the president had given a directive for Governor Mai Malabuni to be removed? Because now you say that there was no such thing, that it was a media hype. But we did hear Governor El-Rufai say openly that he was gone. In fact, as a matter of fact, he accused Mai Malabuni of stalling the convention, and went further to say that now that Governor Mai Malabuni has removed and Abubakar Bello had taken over, there's been some progress. So what was your initial reaction when you came across that statement?
You see, when this thing, was he talking, as a member of the Progressive Governors Forum, or was he talking, as a member of, our own political party, or was he talking, So there are issues that one has to define from the perspective he's talking about, or is he giving his own personal opinion? Or was he...
No, he said that the president had given that directive just before leaving the country. That's why I'm asking you, as a member of the...
Was he directed
according
by Mr.
to him,
President?
he said that the president had given that directive.
That is what I
So
said.
as a member of the caretaker committee, I'm asking you, what was your initial reaction when you saw that interview with...
Well, my reaction was, to have a word with him, to discuss these issues and then find out really what was the directives of Mr. President. The directive of Mr. President should have come directly to the party, isn't it? So that is just my reaction.
Well, does the CPC have the power to remove any of its members? Because the APC constitution clearly states that only an organ of the party can remove.
You see, when the National Working Committee was dissolved and the formation of CECPC, and you know that the CECPC also has a donated powers of NEC. Many people don't even know that. So if you have the power of NEC, you are also an organ of the party. So once you are an organ of the party, you can go with the provisions of the constitution of the party. So for me, I think probably, is there's a communication gap somewhere that so many people don't even know that the CECPC, has a donated power of NEC.
Donated by who? By what part of your constitution? Because the Article 12 of the APC constitution clearly defines which organs of what the organs of the party would be, and we have the National Working Committee, you have the National Caucus, you have Zonal Congress, you have Executive Committee. At no point does it state that the Caretaker Committee can, regulate its own operations and remove members.
Of course it does. It does. By 2/3 majority. It does.
Even though you won't point me to where it says that.
Well, I cannot remember exactly where, but I know there's a section of the Constitution where it's talked about 2/3 majority can sit down and look at it and then, pass a vote of no confidence to be ratified either at the NEC or ratified at the convention.
Let's talk about the court judgment that rejected a suit filed by a member of your party to stop the convention. And then INEC's letter stating that the 21-day notice has not been met, required by law. Why is the party still insisting on going ahead with the convention despite the fact that INEC is making this point? And I recall that the youth leader of your party, who said he was a lawyer, had stated that the initial 21 days notice given to INEC for the 26th of February convention still stands despite the shift in date. Are you not concerned about legal processes that may emerge after this convention?
Well, you see, when people want to go charge, projects or bring about legal issues, no matter what you do, they will bring it. But as far as we are concerned, 21 days notice has been given to INEC, just as the representative of the youth has actually said. So whatever concern or misgivings other people have, we should go with the provisions that has been, invoked, which is, the 21 days notice has been given.
For the chairmanship position, it seems that the National Assembly, specifically the Senate, is sort of divided. There are 3 senators who want to be chairman of the APC. You have Senator Amakura, you have Senator Abdullahi Adamu, and Senator Sani Musa. What are your concerns? How do you see this playing out as a senator? Well,
this is politics. It's very, very clear politics. So for me, whether there are 3 senators, whatever, the family of APC, right from the inception, has always arrived at the consensus candidate, for the national chairmanship of the party. So I'm sure before we reach the convention, we will have a consensus candidate.
Well, but ahead of this convention, there were concerns about zoning. Now, with the adoption of the zoning formula now, do you feel confident that you would have a successful convention?
I believe so. I believe we will have, we are talking among ourselves, and I think, we will have, a successful convention, because it is not the individual interest that matters, it is the interest of the party and interest of Nigeria. A lot of people forget the fact that, APC as a ruling party, has also greater stake, in this country. and therefore whatever happens to APC happens to the whole country. So we are talking among ourselves, we are discussing, we are consulting, and I believe we will have a successful convention.
But then there are dissenting voices. There are persons who still don't want this convention to hold. And it would seem that the reconciliatory moves of the APC have not yielded as much. I know the PDP did have this issue, but largely sorted itself out way before the convention. It doesn't seem like that's the case with the APC right now.
Well, what I would say, wait and see. I believe, 24 hours in politics is even a very, very long period of time. So I believe, we can sort things out and then, come strong on the 26th of this month, that is on Saturday, to conduct, the convention. It is natural. Some people may not want the convention, but, we were actually, inaugurated to do, we are just an extraordinary convention planning committee. It didn't happen, to have concluded it in 6 months. It did happen in 12 months. Now I think we are about 18 months or 19 months down the line. But I think what matters is the stability of the party, and then, are coming together as a family to look at it in the wider context, wider perspectives as to what do we want for Nigeria. Certainly we want peace, justice, and tranquility in this country. So whoever, that wants to create much problem for the party, have to sit down and reflect and look at it in the context of wider Nigeria. But I think as a family, we will actually come together and sort out ourselves and go for the convention.
Are you hoping that the Taraba State APC can sort out itself as well? Because, of course, there's some challenge in the APC in Taraba, and then there are defections. And, APC in Taraba hasn't really been strong. It's just you in the Senate, and from the APC in the House of Representatives, 2 out of 6 from the APC. What are your concerns with regard to the APC in Taraba State? Let
me correct this notion. First of all, we went to our congresses, without any parallel congresses. We had just one congress. The congress reports are there for people to see what happened. Nobody appealed, for the congresses, and the report of the appeal committees was there or is there, at the party headquarters, whoever would want to see. But you see, in politics, you'll not have 100% acceptance of whatever other people do. In the National Assembly today, we have 2 senators of APC, and then we have 4 members House of Representatives of APC.
One of the senators from the APC was a defection?
Of course. Well, once you feel you are not comfortable with the other side and you want to come and join probably a better family, why not? We welcome him and we welcome him into the family. So he has joined a better family now, leaving the other family of his. So as far as I'm concerned, we are stronger than before with these people, coming into us. And then, but in politics, a lot of things, that may come to happen, you find that you will not have 100% acceptance of whatever other people do. There might be some dissenting voices, and it's natural for voices to dissent on certain issues.
While you say that there were no dissenting voices, or there were no appeals to the Congress that held in the states. Earlier this month, with federal high courts sitting in Jalingo, sacked the state executive of the All Progressives Congress after declaring the Congress that produced them as void. How do you react to that?
Well, with due respect to the court, once you are in court, certain things will come into play. So I respect the court judgment, and then we are fielding, our appeals until we go to the appeal court and then see. Because there are about, 4 or 5 people that felt that, they were not treated well, according to their own opinion. They went to court. The court, saw their side and gave its own judgment. And then, the party is appealing, to the appeal court. So we wait and see what will come out of the appeal court. Yes, we have individual, dissents here and there, but as a group we are strong, and as a family we are strong. Even within the family, between father and mother, father and children, mother and children, they all have dissents here and there. That does not break the family.
So who's the leader of the APC in Taraba State?
Well, leader. By convention, I'm the leader of the party in the state. However, they are all, function of definitions as to who a leader is. So many states, have different people, who lead. In Taraba, by convention, I'm the leader of the party.
Distinguished, let's talk about women participation in politics and governance. You participated in the voting process of the Constitution Amendment, and you saw how that went. Before we go into the details of that, how that went, I'd like to ask you firsthand, what are your thoughts on women participation in politics and governance in Nigeria?
I want women to participate 100%. In 2015, we fielded, a woman gubernatorial candidate in Taraba, Senator Aisha of blessed memory. So that will tell you that, I stand, for effective and complete participation of women in politics. However, things may not work at this time in the most favorable way women can participate in politics. It has to be a gradual way. It cannot be a revolutionary. So as far as I'm concerned, some of the issues, that are being discussed, women see that they are not, they are denied, and there is no. People, fail to understand. Things have to follow natural process. So that is my own take on that.
What's the natural process? And you also say that at this time it may not work for the women. What do you mean by that?
I tell you this. We have cultural impediments, we have religious impediments, and we have even, educational impediments. Well, some say financial impediments too. For me, why would you give special reference to women if they are capable to participate? Nobody is doubting the capability of the few of them. But what we are saying is that if women say, okay, give us this, then they should tell us how we can give them the this that they want. I'll give you an example. Women are saying that they should be given a slot, so that when in the Senate, probably maybe, in each state, they should be given one slot, so that instead of 3 senators, now we'll have 4 senators. I have asked the question, I say, how? What is the logistics? It is that difficulty that I could not comprehend, that, I say we should leave it to evolve over a period of time. Nobody is stopping a woman to contest as a senator everywhere in this country.
When you ask how, did you read the bill?
I read the bill.
But the bill was clear as to how a woman would emerge.
How?
It was clear that every political party will reserve a special seat for just women.
That is, how will you reserve? Who? Where? From where?
It's an additional seat.
That is additional seat where? For which constituency? You say women constituency?
That's why I asked if you read that bill, because if every constituency produced a woman, at the end of the day, it must be a woman that will emerge.
That is what I am saying. So the men should not.
Special seats, distinguished.
That is why, what is that special? In a democracy, how do you create special? How do you create special in a democracy? How will that woman emerge? How?
Distinguished.
Women will come together and say, well, all of us, decided for this woman and not this woman.
But that's why I asked if you read the bill. The bill stated clearly that every party would reserve one space. Specifically, let me just stick with the National Assembly now. One space for women. So that particular senatorial position will be contested by only women.
That is what I'm saying.
It's a constitution amendment. I think it's in line with democracy, don't you agree?
No. That is what I'm saying. I represent Taraba Center. So we now bring in a woman as a special, a candidate to contest with who? With whom?
A fellow women.
Now, if the fellow women are interested, let them come, let them buy forms, let them participate.
And contest with the men.
And contest.
But the system is skewed to favor men, don't you agree?
So now you are saying, why is it skewed to, to favor the men and not the women?
So how then would you propose that women be encouraged or supported to get involved in politics if you don't agree with this particular?
It's a matter of education, proper mentoring, and then inclusivity. Aisha, of her blessed memory, she was virtually the leader of APC in Taraba. Nobody contested that. Does that create a special position for her? No. But we all respected her. We all accepted her. We all campaigned for her. But by the grace of God, she was not meant to be the governor. So how do you arrive at that special constituency for women? I'm asking, let the women come and tell me this is how they want it, and let us see whether it is democratic or not.
Were you lobbied by the women for this?
No.
So nobody came to you to explain this to you?
No.
How about the other gender bills?
Which one?
35% participation in party administration.
No, I think in terms of how do you determine 35% of what?
Every position in a political party.
I said 35% of what?
So you find that political
parties... Is it
parties,
in governance or in the
political
political party? Okay, now we have, our convention is coming, isn't it? Okay. Now 35% of all the positions, all the national positions, all the zonal positions, in APC should be reserved for women. How practical is it? And then from which one will fill the woman, which one will not fill the woman?
What if the party says that the positions of, say, national secretary, youth leader, one or two others should be reserved for women? Is that out of place?
Is that democratic?
Is it undemocratic?
Is that democratic?
But it's not undemocratic. I mean, that's...
So if you say it's not undemocratic, is it practical?
You don't think it is?
How?
How is it not practical?
For the simple reason that a woman is now reserved against the men. What is democracy? Is it not freedom of choice? So why are you denying that freedom of choice? Why are you denying freedom of participation? Let them evolve naturally. I will support a woman who evolves naturally anywhere, anytime. After all, they even regard me as a he for she. I will do that.
Did you vote for all the gender bills? Did you vote for or against the 5 gender bills?
Well, it's my own secret opinion.
Why is it?
I did that.
You voted for?
If there are some I voted for, there are some I voted against.
Did you vote for 35% of nominations for ministerial and commissioner nominees for women?
No, I didn't vote for that.
Why?
Yes, for the simple reason I've given. For governance. For governance. If you say 35% of all the ministerial slots should go to women, I ask this simple question. Where will they come from? The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria clearly said that a state should produce at least 1 minister. Isn't it? Now, let's assume, for argument's sake, we have only 36 slots, or 37, no, 36. Now, these 36 slots, 35% of 36, 30% of 36, probably is 12, 13. Now, where will the 12 come from? From Sokoto? Which of the states that will say, this state must fill the woman, and that state must fill the man? It is the practicability of the issues that we are concerned about. Already now, how many women ministers do we have? There are many. Even without stating, without creating a number, they are still women. Leave it Well, even if there are not many, I'm sure there
We
are
have more than 5.
women in the cabinet.
Not ministers, you said.
Cabinet ministers, there are more than 5 women. Certainly, there are more than 5. So, if you do that, where will you? Okay, Kano, I'm going to bring Kano constitutionally. The constitution will say Kano will bring a woman. Lagos will bring a man. Taraba will bring a woman. Adamawa will bring a woman. Is that how it should be? Leave it at the discretion of the chief executive of the country, of the government. Let him decide. If he decides today that 20 ministers will be women, so be it. It is his own choice. Wherever he brings it, nobody is going to question it. But if you tie him to, if the constitution will tie him, how will that constitution tie him to which state?
On the issue of women taking up indigenship of their husbands after 5 years, what's your thought on that?
Beautiful. I supported that.
Why has the National Assembly not, taken the position of the House of Representatives? The House of Representatives has now rescinded 3 bills, recommitted them.
Well, the Senate, is one arm of the National Assembly. I'm sure we are consulting among ourselves. We are discussing it. We are going to look at it, once again, whether what is appropriate. But remember, whatever the House passes, we will go into concurrence. So, the committees on concurrence will be established, and then the committees will sit down and look at it.
There's something else that a number of people have reacted to. You openly rejected the gender equality bill sponsored by Senator Olujimi, compelling her to step it down. Many were shocked by that. For many Nigerians, they thought that we had gone past that tribal and religious sentiments in terms of lawmaking. And your points at the time was that the bill sought to guarantee the right of women to equal opportunities in employment, equal rights to inheritance for both male and female children, among others. And you were not satisfied with the word equal.
Equal in certain respect, not equal in everything. I give you an example. When you come to inheritance, how can you equate a woman and a man under Islam, under Sharia? If you put it in a constitution, then you have, a conflict with what the Sharia provides. But with due respect, there are other areas, a man can be equal to a woman. I have no problem with that. What I'm saying that let us look at it once again. I'm not saying that throw it away. Let us look at it once again. All the areas that we think will have conflict with tradition, with culture, with other religions, let us look at it once again. Once is been harmonized, of course we pass it.
At the time you said you hadn't seen the bill, so I wonder what informed your decision based on the lead debate of Senator Biodun Olujimi.
No, what I said, not that I didn't see the bill. I only saw it there. No, it was not presented to us. So there was no bill that was presented to us. So since there was no bill presented to us, that is why I say it should be stepped down until we have the bill, we look at it, and we communicate and consult, with learned men in both, Christianity, Islam, other religions, and then we'll be able to come out with a stronger position. That is why I say it should be stepped down. I didn't say it should be outright rejected.
Do you think that as a nation we should go past religious and tribal sentiments when it comes to national issues?
Sir, it is very difficult. Let us be very, very honest with ourselves. We cannot say that we are pushing aside religious and tribal sentiments. Let us be very, very honest and realistic to ourselves. Today, when a husband dies in another part of the country, a woman shaves her hair. Up till today. It's tradition. So will you now say, don't do that? If you say don't do that, how are you going to handle the issue? So for me, we say it's matter of education. Let us have proper education. Let us proper understanding of our cultures. You know, there's a difference between, you know, modernity and civilization. There's a difference between the two. For me, in certain aspects of Nigerian society, we are becoming more and more modern and less civilized. So we should carry that. We should be more and more civilized rather than even more and more modern. So in some places, if women wear their tight jeans, with due respect, you know, they will not enter a place. It is tradition. In some places, they don't even bother. There are some women who wear, you know, very tight, you know, pants, and they walk around.
So that's why I'm asking you.
So that is modernity.
My question was directed at you with a focal point of national issues. Where do we draw the line?
What is the national issue of a woman in this country today? Let me ask you this question. What is that national issue about a woman today?
For example, the lawmaking that you talked about. You cited religion as a reason, and some cultural laws that could inhibit some of the women-related legislation. That's why I'm asking you, at what point does it...
Related to women participating in politics.
It's the same thing.
Not legislation. No, they are two different things.
The legislation guides women participation in politics.
Yes, but within the legislation, you can give it the kind of participation you want within the legislation. So the point is simple. There was a bill. It was not presented to us. And I say, look, let us have that bill before we come to debate on it. That is why I say step down. I didn't say reject the bill.
All right, let's go to security now, with focus on Taraba State. Are you satisfied with how the governor is handling security in the state?
No, I'm not satisfied.
What exactly is the governor doing wrong?
Well, for me, you know, the governor is the chief executive of that state, and he's the chief security officer of that state. With due respect, how they manage the local government affairs is what has impacted negatively on our own security in each state. You know, it is the failure of the local government administration. That is why we have a lot of these misgivings, a lot of injustices, a lot of, you know, infighting. You know, it is a local thing. It is the local, and therefore it is local government. It is the failure of the local government administration, which is under the governors. That is why we have this difficulty in containing security in this country.
So what else is the governor doing right in terms of security? Because the governor did say that there's been some improvement and things are not as bad as they used to be. And I wonder if there's anything he's doing. He says the security situation in the state is a bit better now. And according to him, at least, there has been some serious improvements, even though there are still occasional active activities of these banditry.
Yes, there are in certain sections of the state, and there are challenges in other part of the state, just like what we have, you know, the chieftaincy, you know, our crisis in Bisola, in the central, you know, in Kurmi local government area. So, you see, why is this so? Why should chieftaincy affair create so much instability, so much insecurity? Why? Is chieftaincy affair not under the control and ambit of the governor? In some traditions, the governor cannot come and elect their leader for them. Wukari is a typical example. While in other sessions, governors will insist this who will be, you know, the emir, or this who will be the chief. So it's tradition. How do you make the tradition, you know, how do you balance the tradition? How do you make it equal? How do you make it uniform? It is a difficult thing because tradition has history. And the history of each aspect of tradition in each local government is different from the other. So, but if you want to make it uniform on the basis of 1976 Local Government, you know, Act, then you have a lot of problems. Unless if you can bring justice into the system, you know, the local government say you will have nominations from the kingmakers. But the moment the kingmakers say this is who they want, and you say no, I don't want your number one, I want your number three, then you have problem. So even the law that wants to make things uniform in terms of local government administration has not been, taken care of in the best way for us to have, stable local governments.
Distinguished, earlier this year, a group from your state known as the Taraba State Concerned Citizens Forum accused you of hoarding relief materials issued to the people of the state through you by the Northeast Development Commission. How did you respond to that, and has that been sorted?
Well, I felt insulted, but this is democracy. This is accountability. I think what they would have done was to go to Northeast Development Commission and find out what was given to me to disperse to the people, and then come to me and say, look, Northeast Development Commission has given you A, B, C, D, E. What have you done with the A, B, C, D, E? I think that is a better way of doing it. But there are sinister motives of doing things. Just because, yes, I'm the senator, and people feel that, oh, let us rattle this man one way or the other and see that, how he will react. I said, look, let them go and prove it.
Is it that the Northeast Development Commission did not pass relief materials through you?
No, they did, and I have done what is supposed to be done. But it is left to them to go and confirm, to go and find out, and then bring it forth. I asked them, there's a challenge. Even the press called me that, look, if you do not talk to us, if you do not tell us, we are going to publish it. I said, go and publish it. I want the public to call for accountability. If really that person, of the persons of concern, really wanted information, they could have come and say, write to Northeast Development Commission. How much have you given to Senator Yusuf to disburse, to distribute to people? And then let them have that record. Let them come and meet me to reconcile the record. And then Yusuf, they have given you these items to distribute to our people. You went and put it in a private warehouse. Do I have a private warehouse? Do I have? I don't. So this is what was given to you. How did you distribute it? I'll bring my record. This is how we distributed it. If they are not satisfied, if there are some minuses, they'll say, okay, there's a difference. These people said A, B, C, D, E. Your own is just A, B, C, D. Then we sit down and reconcile it. I am open to any accountability.
All right, just before we go, the Senate has been silent on this fuel scarcity issue and its attendant hardship on Nigerians. And many have questioned why the Senate has not said anything about it. Is the Senate handicapped, or is it because senators don't feel this hardship that the ordinary Nigerians feel?
Like I said, I'm not a spokesperson of the Senate, but I know a lot of things is going behind the scene, meetings with NMPC, meeting with, even, at the security outfits, meeting with state governors on these issues. But let us go to the fundamental issue. Issue of subsidy. Why will government subsidize? Where will government bring in 2 trillion naira to subsidize? Who are the major beneficiaries of the subsidy? Why do we continue to do this subsidy? So long as we have not found the fair value of the naira, we'll continue to subsidize. Since 1986, when we had this SAP, Structural Adjustment Program, where we have been, told by the international experts that our naira is overvalued. We kept on devaluing the naira, succumbing to what I call, quote unquote, financial imperialism. And this is what is happening. When I went to UK in 1982, it was 1 naira to 1 pound, basically. Today, how many naira to 1 pound? Despite the fact that we have all our oil, we have all our reserves. Why should that happen? One, we must find the stable, the fair value of our naira. I give you another example. We are exporting crude oil. Do we have the value of the crude oil that we export? I said no. We have been surcharged many times. I have statistics to prove that Nigeria does not get up to 70% of the value of crude oil exports. If you discount the value of the naira today by 30%, what value will it be? So there are more fundamental issues. Until we tackle those fundamental issues, even the issue of test for foreign goods. As we sit down now, my brother, look at me, look at yourself. How much of these attires that we wear that are actually produced from beginning to the end from Nigeria? So now there is a demand pool. People want foreign goods, foreign foods, foreign items, this and this. Where will the dollars come from? So these are the basics, fundamentals. If today they say it's only 100 naira, for example, to a dollar, we will not have subsidy. I believe my naira is undervalued. And I'm yet to find somebody who can prove to me that the naira is overvalued. I have proofs it is undervalued. And if we go by that, then we'll have a better value and we'll not have all these subsidies that we are talking about.
Distinguished, what you've said so far makes a lot of sense, but I fear that it's a long-term measure. My concern right now, and I believe this is a concern of majority of Nigerians who have to struggle right now to queue for fuel, and it will take me back to the question I asked earlier. Now, while you say that the Senate is working behind the scenes, it's disturbing because we know that the House of Representatives has been having these engagements that have been open to the media to understand what exactly is going on. Now, this matter has not been raised in the Senate. Yes, you do not speak for the Senate, but I understand that motions can be sponsored by individual lawmakers, by yourself. So since I'm talking to you, I'll ask you why you haven't put this before the Senate, or why no other senator has put this before the Senate, to show that they understand the pains that Nigerians are going through.
House of Representatives is part of National Assembly.
I understand that they are independent chambers.
So if they are independent chambers, I agree, but that doesn't mean that we don't have working relationships. We have very, very effective, close working relationship. You may be surprised to find out, the Senate too is working behind the scene with the members' House of Representatives. So we do not have to do whatever they do, we do a similar thing. We can. But if it is going to add value, what value will it add now if Senate also pass a motion to do the same thing that the House of Representatives is doing? But the House of Representatives is doing a fine job. They are doing excellently well. They are consulting. We are talking. And what have you. We do not have to pass motions, to do the same thing again, what they are doing. So for me, like I said, I'm not spokesman of the Senate, but from my own personal point of view, I think, working around it, also behind the Senate will also help. After all, NNPC said they have imported so much products. And why are people hoarding? It's a matter of pricing too. Today you find Nigerian fuel in Sudan. You find Nigerian fuel in East Africa. You find Nigerian fuel in West Africa. Why? Because of price disparities. If we have a better value of the naira, people will come and buy fuel in Nigeria and not to smuggle out.
Well, distinguished, it's been a great time talking to you. I'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on Political Paradigm.
Thank you very much. I appreciate and look forward to having you once again. as time permits.
Well, that's Political Paradigm. Thanks so much for your time. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.